On this Make It Once video, the one time I want to see brake fluid leaking from my brake lines. Comparing it to what was there, we can see that that's the same end. So I have a question. I'm gonna have to look this up. I believe there's a crush washer that's supposed to go here. When I took off the rubber hose to do the overhaul, this little copper washer had fallen off, and I did not notice that it was there at all. But I found it on the ground. I just threw it on a countertop, and luckily it was still there. But so when I reattach these, there needs to be a copper washer there in order to seal that, a crush washer. To plug these in, I have a feeling when I disconnect these, if things are going well, brake fluid will leak out. So that thread seems right. Actually leaking from the bleeder bolts. These are really small. As you can see, I added in the brake pads. After it got dark, I couldn't film anymore, so I just figured I'd throw those in. You've seen it before. Now I'm getting ready to bleed, but as you could see before, I had noticed that the rotors are not exactly flat. I don't know if it's just the brake surface or if it's the whole rotor is warped. There's no wobble in it, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that for another time. So right now I'm gonna bleed them. So I'm gonna hook up my little bleeder device here. I'm gonna open the little bleeding valve. I'm gonna go in the car, press the brake, and see if I can get some fluid coming out. Definitely got some fluid. Pinch that off. So I bled it a little bit. Not sure how well that worked, but I'm gonna jump inside and just push the brake pedal and see what happens. Heard something. Double check everything again. Check this out. This is why I can't create pressure. I think I pushed the brake lines, got pressure to the back ones. We got the rear wheel off. Let's take a look at what happened. What I discovered was that the bleeder bolt, the banjo bolt, was completely undone. So all that pumping, actually, the reason why it wasn't forcing the pistons closed is because it was just filling up the caliper and building up a little bit of pressure. It finally shot out and sprayed brake fluid all over the place. So this is a surprise. So that means that the rubber hoses that feed the back are actually not completely clogged. So it may have been that the rear brakes weren't working because they were just rusted in place. So I'm gonna bleed this a tiny little bit and then go pump on the brakes, see if we can get enough pressure to get the pistons moving on the front and the back. So I'm gonna open that a little bit. So jump inside the car, pump on the brakes, get some fluid out. So that's pretty black fluid. So that's old fluid. I pumped up the brakes pretty hard, so I'm not sure if anything else is going to come through here. Trying to figure out here if I got these brakes working. So I'm going to zoom in here, push the brakes, and see if on the film I can see them moving at all. That was a pretty hard stomp. Go check the film. Just check the video. As you guys saw, they totally works. I'm really excited that the calipers are functional. They're compressing and depressing like they're supposed to. Now, obviously, once I get all four, you'd have to re-bleed and recheck everything. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but at least they're working. The rears got some brake fluid. Surprisingly, I think I was just stomping on the pedal so hard that I forced a little bit of fluid through the rotten tubes in the back and just filled them up, and it did get a little bit of pressure. I'm not confident that it's going to work, but at least you know, there's no problems. I stopped the leak and everything like that. So I will have to replace the hoses, but for now it's in pretty good shape. So the next step is I can start looking at the engine, see if I can get it running. If I can't get it running right away, I'll just at least push the car out and then turn it around so I can get to the other side and other brakes, get all four corners, brakes running, working, and then sort all this stuff out. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to put this all back together and we can move on from the brakes.